to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
1, 0, all engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Hi. Okay. Man, this has not been an easy show to put out, but I'm determined. We're not giving up, okay? We're not giving up. All right. We had some power issues this morning. We've had some sound issues this morning. This is, I think, the third time I'm trying, but I think we've got everything good now. I'm hoping you can hear me. If you can't, let me know. This is Orbit at a Tilt. I'm your Dizzy Dude Adam Tilted, and today we're going to watch the launch by SpaceX of 10 Iridium NEXT satellites. This launch happened on Tuesday early morning, and there are several interesting things about this launch. First, this launch is happening from Vandenberg Air Force Base in California on the West Coast. So that's new. All of the launches that we've watched together so far have been from the East Coast. Also, with this launch, in addition to attempting to land the first stage of the Falcon 9 rocket on a drone ship, as they've been doing, they also are going to attempt to retrieve the fairing before it lands in the ocean. The fairing is the part of the very top of the rocket that covers the payload, and it gives an aerodynamic shape for the rocket, and then also protects the payload during launch. Once the first stage carries the rocket up into the edge of the atmosphere, and the second stage carries the rocket out of the atmosphere, the fairing is ejected to save fuel, because mass equals fuel. So that's ejected. Traditionally, it falls into the ocean, but they want to try to catch it before it lands in the ocean so that it's easier to reuse. So we'll see how that goes. Unfortunately, the weather was pretty bad in the Pacific Ocean, which reduces the probability of success for both the recovery of the first stage and this unprecedented attempt at recovering the fairing. But let's take a look at the launch. We'll switch over. This footage is courtesy of SpaceX. If you want to see the launch in its fullness, you can go to YouTube and see it on SpaceX's YouTube channel. It's about an hour, a little more than an hour and a half that they did this webcast, but I'm going to just zip you through the fun parts. Okay. This is the Launch Complex 4E at Vandenberg Air Force Base in Hawthorne, California. It's foggy there. We cannot see the Falcon 9 sitting on the launch pad getting ready to launch, but the weather above is fine. So they are not worried about the weather for the launch. The weather in the Pacific for the recovery is not great. Little background before we jump into this launch. This will be the 14th launch for SpaceX this year. They have been launching all of the Iridium NEXT satellites into orbit. So these 10 will add to the 65 that are already in orbit and bring the total number of the fleet to 75 satellites. And They're again using the Block 5 configuration that they used on the last launch we saw. That has upgrades that reduce the turnaround time for the Falcon 9 and improve a lot of other efficiency aspects of that. Okay, so the first stage will be attempting to land on the drone ship Just Read the Instructions, which is waiting in the Pacific Ocean. And the recovery ship Mr. Steven is also in the Pacific Ocean, waiting with a huge net to attempt to catch those fairing pieces as they re-enter and fall back down to Earth. Okay, this has a very precise launch window. 1 second to get this right. And that is because of the precise deployment needed to put these 10 satellites in orbit with the existing fleet of 65. So here we go with the launch. We're in the last 1 minute 40 seconds of launch. You can see the venting here mixed in with the fog, similar to the venting we saw on previous launches. We'll have startup in about 1 minute. Everything is a go. It's a pity we can't see it. That low layer fog is just there enough to block our view. All right, the Falcon 9 computers have taken over at this point, and we are in startup mode. 49 seconds away from launch and liftoff. We'll go for launch. Thirty seconds.
T-minus 15 seconds.
Falcon 9 is configured for flight.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. Liftoff of the Falcon 9.
This is the view from the camera on board the first stage. Now, check out the telemetry over here. See how quickly this speed increases. It gets fast, really fast. The next event will be main engine cutoff. Before we reach that point, the vehicle will go through a point called max Q, which is where it is facing the most aerodynamic pressure. Okay, we're about to go supersonic. We'll pass that max Q at this point. All right, we've successfully passed max Q. You might have noticed a brief throttle down before we passed max Q. Now they're back up. Everything is nominal. At this point, the pressure on the spacecraft is just going to get less and less. The second stage has a turbo pump, and so right now they're chilling it. They have to get it ready for its launch. Getting ready for MECO, main engine cutoff. All right, so several things are going to happen at once. Main engine cutoff. separation. Then the first engine is going to do a burn to flip. Then the second engine will start up. Let's listen to the callouts. Main engine cutoff. Miko. Second engine startup.
Stage 1 is the engine split. Effect condition. Stage 1's in boost back burn.
We've heard the call out. Stage 1 is in the
Stage 1 is in boost back burn. You can sort.
Separated and lit. Getting some
I'm
great
kind of in
views
the
from
way.
space. The sunlight was right. We'd be getting some great plume illumination, but it's a little early in the morning still here on the West Coast. Boost back burn continuing.
Fairing separation. Now, let's hold on. I'm going to go back. These are the satellites, and they're stacked all on there. It's pretty cool. We're approaching 8,000 kilometers an hour at an altitude of 120 kilometers. The entry burn that we just saw from the first stage, that brings the rocket from supersonic to 0. I mean, it's pretty crazy. By the time the burn starts, it's going about 650 miles an hour. And in 30 seconds, it has to get to 0. So that's an amazing deceleration. We've got good second stage burn here. Oh, wait, is that the... Okay, this is interesting because... Hi, Tish. Yeah, I'm glad we got power back, too. It was starting to get hot in here. Okay, first stage reached apogee right now. That means it's the highest point. Hold on, let me squish. It's reached apogee, so it's the highest point. Now it is headed back down to the drone ship. Just read the instructions, which is waiting in the Pacific Ocean. We also saw the fairings deploy. Those are falling back down very slowly on parachutes to the recovery ship, Mr. Steven. Weather's terrible, so there's not high hopes for a successful recovery of either of those things, but they're out there going to give it a try anyway. All right, we're going to skip ahead. Okay, this is our landing burn here. Oh, I skipped over the whole landing burn. Here goes the landing burn.
See two of the titanium grid fins back illuminated by the burn from the 3 Merlin 1D engines.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
Shutdown of the stage 1 entry burn. 30 seconds until landing burn. Coming up on the landing attempt. Second stage is bringing the payload into the appropriate trajectory for orbit insertion. Look at these speeds, over 16,000 kilometers per hour and climbing. Okay, here is, just read the instructions, the drone burn, the drone ship, we've got the landing burn started. Here we go. Here we go. Cross your fingers. High seas out there. You can see the waves crashing. Landing leg deploy. And what happened? Landing burn shut down. All right, so that they were able to land that. Actually, we will get to see an image of that in just a minute. Meanwhile, second stage is still blasting into orbit, getting ready for deployment of these satellites. The second this engine here will have second engine cutoff, which is happening right around here. We're almost there. And then there will be a coast period where it's using that. Oh, this, by the way, is a gasket inside the camera that fell off. Boo. The poor camera. That's a bummer. So when it switches back and forth between the rocket views, you'll see that gasket in the way. All right, we've got SECO, second engine cutoff. Here you can see the relative spots. I'm gonna speed this up a little bit. All right, so again, right now the fairings are descending slowly on parachutes. Mr. Steven and the crew are going to try to catch that. The first stage did successfully land. Let me see, we're getting close to something interesting, I think. Oh yeah, 50. I went too fast again. Sorry, I get excited. All right, so coming up, you're going to see that here's the second stage. Not this view. The view coming up with all the payload on it. Oh, they got some fun music. Let's turn this up. What happened to my picture? There we go. All right, there's that gasket in the way. There is the payload. So these, they're all crammed in here and all like down a line. So it's kind of like, you can't see that. I'll use my magic wand to show you. It's like this, and the satellites are attached down the end. So when they deploy, we'll get to see them just like pick off like corn on the cob. Thank you, Trish. Okay, I'm gonna speed this up because we're coasting. Now you notice this kind of polar orbit that's going on? It's not going around this way. All right, there's the image of the first stage on the drone ship. Just read the instructions. Way to go. It dealt with wind shear and heavy waves to successfully land on that. Okay, we're coming. Okay, so there's that gasket. Wah, wah. All right, there are the satellites. We're going to have a 4-second burn of this engine, which is going to move it into the perfect altitude and trajectory to insert these satellites into the precise spot they need to integrate with the existing 65 satellites that are already in orbit. So that's coming up soon. The attempt to recover the fairings was unsuccessful. They crashed into the ocean. I mean, they recovered them, but they didn't recover them in the nets. So they will try that again. Here goes our burn. It's a 4-second burn, so not much at all. That puts us into the final trajectory. Okay, nominal orbital insertion. So that means that it's in the perfect place to deploy these satellites. So we're going to speed up and we're going to watch that because that is pretty sweet. As I said, there are 10 of these satellites. The camera views don't give us a view of every one of them. So I'm just going to show you the ones that we can see deploy. And then also you'll get to see the other satellites. Some of the ones that have just been deployed and some of the ones that were deployed on earlier missions. You'll see them in the background because we're in that orbit area. So keep an eye out for that and I will do my best to point them out. All right, let's skip ahead a little bit. More. We're over Africa. They're going to deploy in 100-second intervals. So there goes one. See it? See it? All right, so 85 seconds from now. Yes, Tish, I loved that movie. I loved it. I'm a total astronomy geek. Proud. Proud and loud. As I wave my magic wand around. Okay, wait. All right, so I just got drawn in by the amazement of all this. By the way, you see those little things like flying by? That's probably ice because it's cold. It's cold out there. All right, where are we? All right, we're coming up on another good view. Second satellite deployment. Look at that against the Earth, man. Whew. So pretty. Now the control is through the Malindi ground station in Africa. Okay, that one separated. We couldn't see it. Third one we can see, so let's skip ahead. Oh, this one you can't see, but look at this over here. That's another one of the satellites. So that's cool. Okay, so moving ahead. See, we're coming up over the east coast of Africa, up into... Oh, look at that. Look at that. So remember I said that it was configured like this with the satellites on both sides. So there's a top, it's really kind of like this, I guess. There's a top stack and a bottom stack. They're releasing from the top stack right now. Okay, let's scooch ahead to number 5. See what we can see. Oh, we can't see this one. Okay, this is interesting. I want to show you this. This little puffy white thing there, that is frozen oxygen. They need to, because they're going to do, they needed to do that booster burn, they needed to flush out everything, and that included some of the leftover oxygen from the second-age startup. And oxygen freezes solid when it hits space, so that is like a clump of solid frozen oxygen. Get another view of that. There's that glob of oxygen with a gasket in the middle. That cracks me up every time. That's how I feel about my broadcast today. But hey, we're getting it done, right? There's another Iridium. Did you see that? Back it up. There's Iridium right there. It's amazing that they are inserting this into formation, basically, with the existing satellites. Coming up on number 6. There's that glob, look. See that glob of oxygen? There's another satellite over here. Wow. Let's watch. I want to see that one again. Look at that. And you can see where it was connected to this thing right here. And that's a little spring. And it just goes boom. Awesome. Alright. Getting ready for number 7. Did you see it? I might have been in the way. Let me back it up. Get myself out of the way. It's down here. There it goes. Okay, let's see how number 9 does. Oh, sorry, number 8. Getting ahead of myself. This is out of the field of view. I can't remember if we see it pass by, though, or not. Oh, yeah, we can kind of see it. See? Over there in the upper corner. Go back. I'll go back. It's up here. There it goes. Number 8. Okay. Look at, oh, go back. Look at this. Look at satellite. And you can even see satellites everywhere. This is really going to be great because it's going to provide connectivity to all sorts of industries. Okay, we're getting up close to number 9. It says right here, number 9. And look, there's another satellite. Boom. Look at that! Wow. And see, now you can see the whole deployment rig. Let's go back. You can see how that whole line up was set with 5 on top, 5 on bottom. There's one. That might be another one. This one going that way. That's ice or something. Okay. Look at that oxygen now. Whoa. Thanks for hanging in with me. This has been a long one today, I know. Almost done. Got hair in my mouth. That's never a good thing. How's the audio? Can you just let me know? I've got a new setup. Thanks to my sponsors from Patreon. Have a new microphone, new... Okay, seconds away from the 10th and final satellite deployment. There we go. We couldn't see it, but it was confirmed by the avionics engineer. All 10. All 10. So... it's another successful launch and deployment mission for SpaceX. Congratulations, SpaceX. Good luck on your next try recovering the fairing out of the sky. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for all your patience with the schedule changes and the technical problems that I had today. I'm glad we got it to work out and I was able to show you this launch. Don't forget to look at the sky. Look at the night sky if you get a chance. There's a lot of prettiness out there just waiting for you to watch. I'm your Dizzy Dude, Adam Tilted, and I will see you next week. Thanks a lot.